Hi, welcome. Welcome to session number 7 of the 12-week Healthy Brain Program. I'm so glad that you're here. So tonight we're going to talk about sleep. And sleep and renew will be 2 weeks. So session number 7 and session number 8. So we'll wait as a few people log in. But I did want to write you all, as you all know, it's near and dear to my heart. And we've been fully with our loved ones who are suffering from dementia and other issues, brain illness issues. And I just want you to know that if you would have known them 10 years ago, hi Mona, welcome. If you would have known them 10 years ago, they would have told you that they never wanted this to happen. They didn't plan it, obviously. They never wanted to be a burden. Now we don't consider them, we don't consider this a burden, right? This is something we do because we love them so much. But why it's important is they can't change it now. They can't go back. But you can. You can do everything that you can that's within your power. And everything I've covered has been easy. Tonight is about getting sleep, right? It's one of the most natural things we do. Eating well, exercising. All of that is within your abilities, right, to make positive and long-lasting brain health changes. If they knew then that they could have made a difference, they would have much rather preferred that over this. So do it now. And again, if you're watching, Mona, you know how much I love you. If you're watching, you matter to me. You matter so very much. And do everything you can to extend your quality of life, not how long you live. That's important too. But your quality of life, right? That's our focus here. You want your health span to match your lifespan. You don't want to be living and breathing and not having quality of life. Hi Shannon, welcome. So tonight we're going to get started. Sleep, right? And many people do come to see me to restore their natural sleep patterns, right? We all have a pattern, and sometimes it gets disrupted. And we all know the effects, especially on our jobs and our families when our sleep is disrupted, and especially if it goes on for any length of time. So that is something that I do using hypnotherapy, is to restore natural sleep patterns. All right, so this is part 1 of Sleep and Renew. So sleep was designed especially for the brain. It promotes 2 important functions: detoxification of the amyloid and the oxidative byproducts. You remember those free radicals. When we don't get enough sleep, we're not able to do that. But one of the other main functions is the consolidation of memory and thought. Think about everything that happened throughout the day has to be processed, and is processed at night. So this is where your short-term and your short-term memories are converted to the long-term memories. Right? So what happened today? Let's say you got a promotion, you got married, you had a child, right? You want that to be a long-term memory. This is where it happens when you sleep. But also, unneeded memories are eliminated, right? If you don't need that, it's eliminated. Thought processes are organized. So let's say that you learned something new. It organizes it and stores it in the proper location. So our memories are stored by like items. And so this is where it's organized so that it's easily recalled. So favorite foods, right? It's not stored in one location and a different food stored in a different location, and why you like it, right? The emotions that it elicits and the foods are all stored together. So even if you get a new favorite food, it's not on linear time, right? Like your first favorite food, let's say, was applesauce, and now your new favorite food is sushi. It's all stored together. It's organized. So if anybody asked you, what do you love to eat? It's easy for your brain to go and retrieve that. And remember, the brain likes to be efficient. This is also when new connections are built. We talked about those synapses, right? You need to have multiple redundant sources of synapses to different memories. This is where the connections are built. So let's say, right, you have a new favorite food. That's going to be a new connection. So if one connection is damaged, you have several others when it comes to food, right? Or what's your favorite color? What's your favorite song? What's your favorite music? We have different connections. That's why the elderly can remember really old songs. They have multiple redundant connections to those memories. We want multiple connections, right? Redundant connections to all of our memories so that when our synapses are damaged as we get older, right, from those plaques and tangles, we have others. We have the redundant source. Sorry, I think my connection's a little odd here, so if I'm, fading in and out, bear with me. So how much sleep do you need? 7 to 8 hours of good sleep does more to remove toxins and oxidative byproducts and that amyloid, those amyloid plaques. But even your negative thoughts and memories does it better, right? 7 to 8 hours of good sleep does it better than any product on the market today, any medication, any product you could buy. Sleep is far more effective. So we've known for decades that sleep deprivation has dire physiological and neurological consequences, right? We know that. That's why there's laws governing how long you can drive a truck, how often you can, be an air traffic controller, the pilot, all of that. Thank you. Because sleep deprivation has such dire consequences. But new research has revealed that chronic poor sleep and lack of sleep, right, have almost the same effects as sleep deprivation. So I know a lot of people, I do, who run on just a few hours of sleep and appear to feel just fine, right? They appear to feel just fine. And we'll talk a little bit more about how we mask our exhaustion. But chronic sleep and lack of sleep both affect neural networks. And these neural networks involve behavior, problem solving, and memory. And again, the effects of dementia and Alzheimer's. If you've ever have a conversation with someone who doesn't even remember that you were there yesterday, right? Memory is important. But problem solving, if you work, if you drive, if you live, you need your problem-solving capabilities. It affects your quality of life. So several studies are now linking sleep disorders to an increased risk of dementia. Right? And sleep is just absolutely a critical component of better health, not just your brain, your entire body. So let's talk about what it is, and I'm going to go into some of the stages. And I want you to know if you have like a Fitbit or an Apple, watch that tracks your steps, it probably has a sleep mode also that tells you how well you sleep. I know mine does, right? And I'm always interested on how much hours of REM sleep I get. I love REM. And the deep sleep, that's the restorative sleep. So it's a necessary biological function for every living organism. I couldn't find any organisms that don't sleep. So although the brain is somewhat quieter during sleep, it is far from dormant. This is one of its most active times. It's not in the thinking, right? It's doing all this other work. It's regenerating your entire body. It's restoring, it's healing. Let's say you have an illness or an injury. That's why sleep, right? We are so sleepy when we're sick or injured. We need the sleep so our body can heal and renew and regenerate. So it's far from dormant. There are different stages of sleep. And again, if you have your Fitbit or your other fitness device, right, it will tell you about these stages. Check it out. It's good information. It tracks. I don't know how accurately, but it does track it based on your heart rate and your breathing. So stage 1 is light sleep. which lasts between 1 and 7 minutes. I know that I fall asleep pretty much as soon as my head hits the pillow, so I'm probably more in the 1 minute range. I close my eyes and I fall into sleep. But this is a transitional stage, that's why it doesn't last long, in which a person can easily be awoken with a soft noise. I want you to know that when I use hypnotherapy, it's this stage that you do your best work in. It's a very light stage where you're still very much aware, and in my case, you can talk to me. It's not a deep one. You can do much work when you're falling into this state. And you're in this state right when you fall asleep and when you wake up. So I'll do a little side note for you here if you have children. As soon as you feel their body relax, you have a few minutes, right, 1 to 7 minutes, to plant positive thoughts. Tell them how much you love them, how grateful that they came into your life, how good they are, right? You can reverse the negative effects of the day in this state. Your subconscious is open. So even for you, as you fall asleep, what you ruminate on in this 1 to 7 minutes is important. I've talked about this a lot. Make it positive, right? Gratitude, optimism. Don't rehash the day, because that's what goes into your subconscious, and you'll process that all night long, and it will affect your mood and how you see the world. You're also in this state right before you wake up, especially if you can wake up without the alarm. Your body is still very much asleep, and you know that it's about time for you to wake up. Be positive, be optimistic, be grateful in those few moments. Your subconscious, again, is open. And you can plant positive beliefs in that subconscious that will, color your entire world. So again, especially with children, right when they fall asleep, you have some moments to reverse the negative effects of the day. Let's say they got a bad grade. Tell them how smart they are. Let them know that this was just a one-time thing. It's not how It's not how smart they are. It's not based on that one grade. You can reverse so much and plant a whole lot of positive beliefs about themselves. So thank you for letting me divert from there. So stage 2, right? During this state of sleep, it lasts from about 10 to 25 minutes. It's a little bit more difficult to wake someone up, but you still can. This is when your heart rate and your body temperature begins to fall. This is also when your memory begins to be consolidated, right? Again, the brain is very efficient. It's going to consolidate your memories of the day and convert them from short-term to long-term. Now, stage 3. Good for you, Shannon. Keep doing that positive. Remember, positive reinforcement. Stage 3 is the deepest stage during which we experience what they call slow wave sleep, so SWS. We are less responsive to the external environment. This is when, loud noises aren't going to wake us up unless it's really loud, or, we don't really notice the temperature changes easily. Now, this is important. During this stage, growth hormones peak, right? We need the growth hormone. This is how we generate new cells. So if we're adults, right, this is where we can stay young. Without this growth hormone, we don't generate new cells and we age. If we're children and adolescents, this is when they grow, right? This is important. So the growth hormone peaks. What starts to decrease in this stage is norepinephrine, serotonin, acetylcholine, and histamines. They all decrease. It allows you to sleep, right? Those other ones will keep you active. Memories from the previous day are processed and transmitted from cell to cell. This is where those connections are created. So they're processed and transmitted from cell to cell. That's why you need those neurotransmitters. And they are ultimately, again, converted into long-term memory, which we want, right? But here's the big one for our brain health program: amyloid, right? That can accumulate and turn into an amyloid plaque, which is a precursor to Alzheimer's. Amyloid that has accumulated during the day is cleared out during this sleep state. That's why you want deep restorative sleep. This is when the toxins and the oxidative byproducts and the amyloid are cleared out. And studies suggest that the brain replays encoded information during this sleep cycle. So again, let's say that you're in college or school. It's during this one that you replay it. Or let's say that you learn something new at work, right? How do you get that memory into your ability to use it? It's here where it's replayed over and over and over. Sorry, don't know what happened. So let me repeat that. So you replay those processes that you just learned. So whether it's something new at work, right, a new exercise routine, a new recipe, you replay it here. You may even replay people that you've met, right, so that you can bring them into your memory and become more familiar with them. Remember, our beliefs and our abilities are through repetition in the subconscious. So this is how it gets in there. So then lastly, hi Michelle, welcome. Lastly, you have your REM sleep, right? That's your rapid eye movement. This is your dreams, right? This is also very important. We process and problem solve during this phase. Even though your dreams don't make sense many times, right? Or we don't know what they're about, the subconscious is very much aware of what it's trying to do. So REM lasts between 20 and 40 minutes per cycle. This is when your muscles are paralyzed so that you don't act out your dream. And the brain's reticular activating system, right, your RAS, which controls your level of consciousness, is inhibited. That allows you to go into that dream state. Researchers believe that REM sleep allows the brain to organize information and restructure itself. So again, in your healing, let's say that you've had a stroke or some other illness, right? This allows your brain to restructure itself. But also, just as you age, being able to restructure it and make new connections, right? We want that redundant system. So REM sleep is highly critical. We want to integrate memories into the larger neural network. Again, that's how we create those redundant synapses connections. So consider this a little bit like defragging a hard drive, where you have a whole lot of information stored in multiple locations, right? This is when it's reorganizing itself and making it more clear, right? Again, you have your favorite food when you were little, applesauce, and all of the other ones that have come your way, and a new one, sushi, right? Applesauce and sushi are vastly different. But if you store them, right, and somebody says, what kind of foods do you like? Your brain doesn't have to go to multiple locations to try to find all the ones that make you happy. It goes to one. So it's like defragging a hard drive. So during this REM phase, acetylcholine and cortisol rise, and they're part of your declarative memory processing. And declarative memories are memories of facts and events. So it's things that you've learned and done. So each night we pass from stage 1 through 2, 3, enter REM, and then back to stage 1. And we do this about every 90 minutes, on average of 4 to 6 cycles. And roughly 75 to 80% of your sleep is non-REM. And REM accounts for 20 to 25%. So a healthy sleep cycle and a really good sleep routine are highly efficient at restoring both the body and the mind. So I want to take a short detour here from brain health just for a moment and talk about body health, right? And of course, body health and brain health are directly linked. So, sleep triggers the release of hormones that encourage tissue growth and repair. We talked about that in your brain, but it's also in your body. It boosts your immune system. During sleep, you make more white blood cells that attack viruses and bacteria. Sleep helps your heart. So during sleep, your blood pressure dips, and this gives your heart a little bit of a break. It's a smoother rhythm. Sleep also tweaks your stress hormones, which may help to curb inflammation. And again, what's inflammation? Right, it's the body and brain on fire. We don't want inflammation, especially within our body. Now, if we're sick, we have a cut, that is inflammation that heals it, but it's short term. We don't want long-term inflammation. Again, that is your body and brain on fire. Thank you guys so much for contributing and working with me. I can't even tell you how much that means to me, and it makes this program a whole lot better because we're very much connected. And if you have questions, please be sure to type them in. All right, so here's the one I like. This sleep is good for your weight control. Sleep suppresses ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone, and stimulates leptin, which helps you to control your hunger. So people who sleep well are less likely to be overweight or have weight issues. So again, if you're trying to lose weight, get a good night's sleep. We'll talk a little bit about that. And during sleep, we heal, regenerate, and rejuvenate. If you've ever woken up and not had a good night's sleep, you know the difference from the nights that you do have a good sleep, right? So it absolutely helps us to heal, rejuvenate, and regenerate. So back to brain health. We are strongly influenced by our circadian rhythms. We are very rhythmic beings. We are. Our heart beats in a rhythm. We breathe in a rhythm. The seasons are a rhythm. The days are a rhythm, right? Everything is a rhythm. We are very rhythmic. And when we are in rhythm, right, we just feel better. We move better, and we are cognitive functioning better. So our sleep is controlled by our circadian rhythms, right? Day and night. Our body produces melatonin, which is a hormone that makes us sleepy, when the sun goes down, or roughly around 9 p.m., right? So way back before clocks, right, our ancestors were very much tied to the seasons and the time of day. Roughly 12 hours later, around 9 a.m., our melatonin levels fall rapidly, and we become alert for the day's activities. So if you're not a morning person, this could be when, right, your melatonin levels probably fall rapidly, is when you're about to wake up. People are very much like that. Work schedules, right, don't work with our levels, our circadian rhythms. They set a time. But we all know people who are good in the morning, and we all know people who are not, and they don't really get their rhythm going until the afternoon, maybe after lunch, right? It's very natural. It's not anything that most of us can control. Working with our own rhythms is far healthier than trying to force, right, a change. So if you have sleep troubles, it's highly likely that your issues are here, disruptions in your circadian rhythms. And what things affect your rhythms, right? Light, temperature, anxiety and depression, right? If you're a worrier, you're not going to be able to fall into that rhythm. Work schedules, kind of talked about that. And if you work a night shift or a swing shift, you absolutely will have difficulties getting into a good, right, rhythm. Sleep is better when it's a habit. When it's a routine, you will get much better sleep. Food Food definitely affects it. If you've ever been woken in the middle of the night by heartburn or acid reflux, right? And some things just don't set well. And then other health issues. People have different issues. Sometimes pain, right? Pain is one that will definitely disrupt your sleep. Insomnia, definitely. Now here's how we get, right? Insomnia is a disruption of your natural sleep pattern. Many things you can do, and we're going to cover some of those. So how much sleep do you need? So 6 to 8 hours, right? And the exact amount is determined more by how good you sleep rather than how much you sleep. But less than 6 has not been shown to be effective, and more than 8 in the 9 range is not shown to be effective. It is quality over quantity. Right? So studies have shown that less than 6 hours of sleep consistently decrease your cognitive awareness, but 9 is also detrimental. In studies, sleeping 9 hours per night or more has been associated with cardiovascular disease increase and shown to negatively influence your cognitive functioning. So the overwhelming research data supports 7 to 8 hours of good restorative sleep. That's what's optimal. And it's the quality, again, that matters most. So it must be restorative, meaning that you wake up feeling refreshed. Also, do you wake up before the alarm? So I need to reiterate this. 6 to 8 hours of sleep is optimal. 7 seems to be a very magic number. And it must be restorative, meaning you wake up feeling refreshed. So I don't know many of you who wake up feeling refreshed, especially before the alarm. I know I used to, right? The old me, I could barely wake up in the mornings. Again, my circadian rhythms are different, and I was supposed to be to work, right? I could have been there at 6. There was no way. But even 7 was really difficult for me to get up and moving. I'm not that kind of person. I'm more of a night person. I like to be up at night. Mornings are not my time, right? So without the alarm, I never would have been able to get it up. Absolutely, I never woke up before my alarm, and I definitely didn't feel refreshed because, again, I was way out of whack, way out of rhythm, and I had other health issues and a lot of worries. So I was one of those snoozers. You know, the alarm goes off, you hit the snooze button, you fall back asleep. The snooze button, you hit the alarm again, goes off, you hit the snooze button. And I would do this 2, 3, or 4 times, right? That's 10 minutes each. And finally, I would wake up and see the time and think, oh shit, I'm going to be late. I'm not even going to be able to do my hair, right? And I'd go to work with my hair wet and pinned up. That's the old me. I really do sleep well. And I get up pretty much around 6:45 now, very naturally, very refreshed, very happy, right? Wasn't happy before. I didn't like getting up, and I didn't feel well. So how do you wake up? It's important, right? It's very important. And what happens when you're not getting restorative sleep? What do you use caffeine to keep you moving? That's the first thing I did, is I went straight to the coffee, started it so that by the time I got out of the shower, I could have 2 cups. Even when I was late, I had to have the caffeine, right? So caffeine can mask your exhaustion. I know, Mona, that's your rhythm. Good for you, because later I'm going to talk about brisk walks in the morning are wonderful. So caffeine will mask your exhaustion. Do you use caffeine to keep you going? That's one of your clues that your sleep is not restorative. So be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Do you have enough energy throughout the day? Or do you feel exhausted in the afternoon or evening? I will tell you that, of course, there was a whole lot going on with my prior job, and it wasn't the job, it was me. I want to reiterate that. The job was fine, it was me. But there were times I would come home, sit down, grab a beer, and fall asleep by 7 o'clock, right? I was exhausted. I truly was. You don't have to leave your job. You can just begin to get good sleep and change your outlook on life. So know this, sleep is absolutely critical for you. And if you identify even slightly, right, with the sleep deprivation, long-term chronic exhaustion is strongly associated with cognitive decline. So the longer you are in this chronic, right, stress-induced, lack of sleep, total exhaustion. I worked for that job for 23 years. I don't know how many of it, right? I was in cognitive decline because I was completely stressed out, not getting enough sleep, not getting rest, not getting health. I wasn't healthy. People who don't get enough restorative sleep experience atrophy in the important memory centers like the hippocampus, right? What causes how do we recognize dementia and Alzheimer's if it isn't that they don't have any memories left, right? So there's atrophy in those important memory centers. And they also have smaller brain volumes in general. Even if they don't have dementia and Alzheimer's, chronic sleep-deprived people have smaller brain volumes in general. I don't know about you, but I want my brain to be full, maximum, optimum. So sleep's important, highly important to your overall health, your body, mind, and I'll add even your spirit, because your mood is deeply affected by sleep, as is your outlook on life. I just kind of shared a little bit with you of mine. So let's get into some of the benefits, right, of good restorative sleep. Do you remember that I mentioned the brain fertilizer called BDNF? Well, BDNF repairs the brain at night during sleep. It also, right, helps with neurons and their supporting glial cells, which appear to regenerate during sleep. So whatever these supporting glial cells are, they're most likely part of the neurotransmission. So the neurons and the supporting cells appear to regenerate at night during sleep. And I mentioned that the brain sweeps out and clears the amyloid plaque and the toxins that lead to amyloid buildup. And it does this at night when you sleep. So people who don't get enough sleep, especially good sleep, actually have more amyloid plaque buildup, which puts them at a greater risk for developing Alzheimer's. So remember, there is dementia, and Alzheimer's is a form of it, but it's different. Alzheimer's is characterized by these amyloid plaques and tangles. Dementia could just be, right, the shrinking of the brain and inactivity in certain brain centers. So the benefits. Good quality sleep lowers your risk for developing heart disease, strokes, and diabetes, all of which will affect your brain. Restorative sleep seems to have a particularly profound effect on the body's response to inflammation. Remember, we talked about inflammation as your brain and body on fire. So there is a marker called C-reactive protein and other inflammatory markers like homocysteine, which seem to be lower in those who sleep better. Now, I will tell you, when I was highly stressed out, they did test my C-reactive protein, and it was through the roof, right? And we worked on getting that down, right? And we talked about all kinds of stress reduction. So again, good sleep, better than most pills, right? I'm going to say it's better than all pills, but it does so much work for you. And if it can keep your inflammation markers down, keep the amyloid plaques from building up, right? Remove the toxins, help you regenerate and renew, right? I'm all in. So lower inflammation decreases amyloid buildup in the brain, which will then also decrease your risk for developing Alzheimer's. People who sleep better are happier. There's a direct correlation, right, between restorative sleep and happiness, in both the level and the degree of happiness. So think better happiness. And the quantity of happiness. Think how much, how happy the person is. right? So your happiness levels, how much and how happy you are affected by how good your sleep is. You know that to be true because when we have children, right, what happens when they're tired? Right? They get really cranky, fussy, stubborn, right? It's not that different for us. It really isn't. I know I'm cranky when I'm tired. I absolutely am. So we all have shorter fuses when we're tired. We do. Period. It's a known fact. We don't change that much, right, from our children. So quality sleep results in a better mood, better insight, better social engagement. I know that I really am not at my best in social environments when I'm tired. I kind of slink to the back and really just try to make it through, right? Not fully engaged. If I'm tired, you're not going to find me fully engaged. But it also results in overall quality of life. We know that. We just feel better, right? So there's also research that suggests that poor sleep can impair your ability to process and regulate negative emotions on a daily basis. So we can become negative people if we suffer from lack of qualitative, restorative sleep. And here's how. It becomes a spiral. So the more negative we are because we're not able to process those negative thoughts and emotions, the worse life is and the more we worry. It's not really, it's how we see it, right? But the more we worry, the less likely we are to sleep, because then we have worrisome thoughts that cloud our minds, causing what, Mona? Insomnia. So the more we worry, the less likely we are to sleep, because these worrisome thoughts cloud our minds. And as we worry more and more, we begin to see life as difficult. Right? We lose our ability to see the positive because we're stuck in the negative. We see people as no good or scary, right, or out to get us. And then we even become more negative because we're surrounded by negative people. And the pattern is developed and enhanced. And the more that we become into this pattern, the less likely we are to get good restorative sleep, the less likely we are to see life as good. Hi, Troy, welcome. So glad that you're here. So focus and attention are also, excuse me, a tickle in my throat, the foundation of cognition, right? So you have no cognition, it is a vicious cycle, you have no cognition if you don't have focus and attention, right? You're just all over the board, right? Things don't make sense. You don't put two and two together if you don't have focus and attention. So not just memory processing, but all kinds of complex functions, like your visuospatial and motor skills, right? That requires focus and attention. If you're playing tennis, right, you better have your eye on the ball and have those motor skills, focus and attention. So lack of sleep impairs these abilities. It just does. While proper sleep improves and enhances them. So, right, tired people who drive, they have less focus, less attention, but they also have less visuospatial and motor skills, all of which are highly important in driving. Hi, Teresa, welcome. So people who sleep well have better short-term memory and long-term memory. They also have better processing speed, right? What do we tell our children when they need to take a test? Get a good night's sleep. We have better recall when we're rested. Again, the visuospatial skills, driving skills, and even athletic skills, right? So if you're a coach, do you want your kids coming in tired, or do you want them coming in well rested? And why? You need them at their best. Not just physically, but mentally as well. So take a moment to think about your driving skills. As you get older, what's one of the hardest things to face, right? It's losing your ability to drive safely. And if you've been on the other side, the family member who has to take a loved one's keys away, well, you all know how hard that is. So something as simple and easy to accomplish as getting good, quality, restorative sleep could be beneficial to driving. Count me in. I really don't want my children to have to take my keys away. Hi, Troy. Yes, sleep apnea will affect your ability to sleep. So make sure, right, that you use the devices that help you get good sleep. And a good sleep study will tell you if it's working or not. So sleep apnea has so many health issues. So good luck with that and get your sleep. Like I said, do what the doctor says and use those devices that help you get that restorative sleep. So what happens to your coordination with lack of sleep, right? It blunts your responses to your environment. If you're really, really tired, have you noticed that you just miss things? You're not even aware of what's going on in your own environment. It makes you more likely to drop objects. I know I'm a total klutz. I absolutely trip and I drop things, can't hold on to things, and even getting the key in the door, right? If I'm tired is a struggle. So I might struggle with other intricate or simple actions. Again, just putting the key in the door sometimes, right? It's enough to make me blow up because then I get really frustrated. So I don't know about you guys, but it makes me angry when I can't do a simple thing. Or if I just keep dropping something over and over and over, I kind of get it then that I'm tired, right? So getting good sleep now, getting it now. We don't, there's a myth, right, that we can make it up. We can't. We have to have it consistently. Again, the brain likes efficiency, consistency. We're not able to recover what we lose when we don't take good care of ourselves. So getting good sleep now will ensure that you're better able to do these tasks well and long into your later years. So just imagine how much better your quality of life will be. Really, imagine how much better your quality of life will be when you can do those intricate details, right? Those simple tasks, driving, right? Imagine. So decision making, people who sleep regularly are less likely to make bad financial decisions. Now, I don't know about you, but when I'm tired, I really struggle with big decisions, right? I would never encourage anyone to go buy a car or a house when they're just exhausted. So sometimes when I'm really, really tired, I won't put in the effort needed, right? Have you ever wondered why car salesmen try to wear you down? So that you'll go ahead and say yes. It's one of the tactics that policemen use when they interrogate someone. They wear them down so that we just can't make good decisions. Now, I'm not saying what they're doing is wrong, but what I'm telling you is that if you're tired, you won't make your sharpest decision. You don't have that ability. So don't make big decisions or important decisions when you're tired. If you've ever worked in a safety-sensitive environment, a job that requires, right, safety-sensitive actions, they almost always have a time limit. How long can you work at that job? Because if you make a bad decision and somebody dies from it, right, it's because when we're tired, 1, we can't make good decisions. 2, we can't make complex decisions or put complex things together. And 3, that simple thing, right? So I worked for the Rural Electric. We talked about how tired people are all the time. It was the foreman and the supervisor's job to make sure that crews were fed, they had breaks, they didn't work too long. Depending on the environment, if it was a horrible storm, it would wear you out faster. You had to be aware because a split-second decision could really injure or kill someone. Why do we think it's different just because we're not in that type of environment? We want to be our best, right? And we don't make good decisions when we're tired. We don't do complex functioning when we're tired. We don't even do the simple, easy things as well when we're tired, right? So that's why car salesmen try to wear you down. So better sleepers also are less likely to abuse alcohol and other drugs, which again speaks to the frontal lobe's ability to inhibit inappropriate choices, right? It's your frontal lobe, right? Your prefrontal cortex. That's your executive. That's your CEO. So better sleepers are less likely to abuse alcohol and drugs. Why? They make better decisions. So it's true in adolescence, midlife, and even late life. Regardless of your age, restful sleep makes you less likely to abuse substances. And these substances, which will then negatively affect your cognition and your executive functioning. And we go into that spiral again. So the more we abuse these substances, alcohol, drugs, painkillers, whatever it is, the more we cycle. And the more we cycle, the less likely we are to make good decisions. So start with what? Good sleep. So diabetes, which as you guys know, I'm either pre-diabetic or diabetic. I need to get back and see. I don't know what the exact diagnosis is. So people who don't sleep enough are more likely to develop type 2 diabetes. Studies have shown a direct link between sleep and your body's ability to process insulin. And remember, sugar in your blood is sticky. It's not good for your brain. It's not good for your organs. Let me get some water here. There's must be smoke in the air. So sleep affects your body's ability to process insulin. So people who slept only 5 hours were 2.5 times more likely to develop diabetes. 2.5 times more likely simply because they slept 5 hours. So prediabetes and diabetes have both been linked to dementia and cognitive decline. Again, sugar is not good. It's sticky in your blood. You need to have a good balance, right? What you properly need for energy, but no more. So lack of quality sleep also increases your risk of stroke because sleep is critical to healthy vascular function. Okay? And remember, your brain is a system of vascular networks. So your vascular health is vital to your brain health. People who sleep better have far fewer migraines and tension headaches. Makes sense, right? If you're sleeping well, you're making better decisions. If you're sleeping well, you see the world better, right? Your mood is better, therefore your stress is decreased. So it's a well-known fact that lack of sleep, or the opposite, too much sleep, can trigger migraines. Healthy weight control, like I mentioned earlier, right? But here's some more. Sleep-deprived people make bad decisions. We talked about that. And have less control, which makes them more vulnerable to cravings. I will tell you that that's true. And abnormal circadian rhythms also play a role in weight gain, as does the hypothalamus, which houses the brain's satiety and hunger centers, whether you're full or craving something. Being short on sleep causes cravings for high-fat foods and sweets, right? The comfort foods. We all know that to be true. We crave the sugar to give us a boost of energy, and we crave the comfort foods, and then we don't have control, right? And we don't make good decisions. So when we could eat carrots and celery and bell peppers and whatever, we'll instead go to potato chips and, sugar and cookies and whatever. So being short on sleep can really affect our weight control. And restricted sleep also appears to increase snacking. Why? Because we're needing that energy. We're tired and we don't have good control. Now here's one. People who get more sleep have increased testosterone levels. And both males and females need testosterone. Males, obviously, it's their main hormone. So the opposite is also true. Less sleep results in lower testosterone, causing low libido. And low libido can cause depression, and diminished quality of life. And it's this depression and diminished quality of life that affect your cognition and your memory, affects it negatively. So studies have also shown a link to low testosterone, to Alzheimer's risk in people with an endocrine disorder affecting their testosterone levels. So it's all tied in, right? We need it all, and we need it to be balanced. Yes. All right, so a new study revealed that sleep deprivation can cause brain atrophy, meaning that your brain shrinks. It's linked to microglia, which is the brain's specialized waste clearance cells. And what happens when we're sleep deprived is that this microglia then destroys healthy neurons and their connections instead of clearing the harmful byproducts. So remember, we talked about the sweeping of the toxic byproducts and the amyloid plaques. So when we are chronically sleep deprived, the system turns on itself. And it goes in and it prunes the very cells it would otherwise preserve, the new ones, right? The good ones. And then the damage sustained by this abnormal process appears to be cumulative, meaning that it's adding on top of itself over the long term. And it may explain the brain shrinkage found in individuals who consistently fail to get enough sleep. So even if they didn't have Alzheimer's or dementia, people who were chronically sleep deprived had brain shrinkage, and it could be because instead of generating the new cells, right, that microglia goes in and prunes the good ones and leaves the bad ones. It turns on itself. All right, Mona, this is what we do if we suffer from sleep issues now. So these are tips to get good, qualitative, restorative sleep. Normalize your sleep schedule, right? So go to bed at the same time and get up at the same time each morning. So keeping regular hours, and I know it's hard, but if it's a priority, you can do this. Keeping regular hours helps your brain know when to rest and when to be alert. It's not confused, right? And again, it's your circadian rhythm. You get into a rhythm. Even people who work night shifts, if they work a consistent one, can get into a circadian rhythm by doing other things like, controlling light and that kind of thing. So we evolved to sleep with the fall and the rise of the sun, right? So an erratic sleeping schedule interferes with the daily hormonal processes that help facilitate a restful sleep. So there are moments, right? Do the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, make sure that you keep a normal schedule. On occasion, let's say that you travel or you see, an amazing concert that lasts till midnight. It's going to throw you out of your normal rhythm. But make sure it's not a consistent, erratic schedule, right? Make it more that 80-20 rule, special occasions. Avoid eating late at night. When your gastrointestinal system is working to digest food, you don't sleep as deeply. And remember, we want to go into that deep sleep. That's where we restore the most. You also are more likely to wake up if you eat too late. Your stomach's still trying to digest food, so you're not in the deep sleep. And because you're not in the deep sleep, you're more likely to wake up. Every little noise will wake you up. Sugar in the evening may also play a role in keeping you active and awake. So I would ask you, do you give your children sugary foods when you want them to rest or even when you just want them to behave, right? We don't. Halloween is a hard time on kids. Teachers, right, don't want children to have a lot of sugary snacks before they take tests. Why? It's not good for us, right? So it's definitely not good at night. Other foods to avoid, those that cause indigestion and acid reflux, and there's a lot of them, right? Could be acid foods. For some, it's heavy fried foods. Could be citrus, can cause acid reflux or indigestion. And foods that contain caffeine. So that's, drinks, chocolate, different things that contain caffeine. Avoid late in the evening. Alcohol. So a lot of people think alcohol makes you sleepy. It does make you sleepy, but it disrupts your sleep cycles. You don't go into the deep sleep. Many times you don't go to REM sleep. And it also wakes you up in the middle of the night. Remember, alcohol is a diuretic. So it wakes you up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. And sometimes you can't go back to sleep. So alcohol is not good for sleep. Make it one of those 80-20 rules, right? You're at the concert and you have a few. You'll get over it. Just don't make it a habit. Welcome, Marlene. So avoid exercising before sleep, but be sure to exercise earlier in the day. And here you go, Mona. A brisk walk in the morning has wonderful effects on your sleep. So getting out into the light helps set your circadian cycles and wakes you up for the day. Exercise has been shown in many studies to increase the depth of sleep, which is needed for restoration. Walking after dinner, which would be ideal at dusk, is also a great option because your brain reacts to the changing light and naturally prepares you for sleep. So be sure to complete your exercise, especially intensive aerobic exercise, at least 3 hours before bedtime. Now, low light at night and bright light during the day. You want to mimic, right, the natural rhythms of the day and night. So your brain needs bright, natural light during the day. That's why Mona's walk in the morning is so good. And you need softer light at night. So light boxes are a great solution at night. They provide 20 to 40% more light than lamps, and they mimic a natural light. Light therapy is great for seasonal affective disorder, which is sad, and people get that because there's not enough daylight and we work inside, right? It's also good for depression. Light therapy is good for depression. They've proven that many times. But it can also help with sleep-wake cycles because it makes, right, if you have a darker interior, if you work indoors, right, you need that brighter light so that when you do then transition to home at night, you're in a better circadian rhythm. Use only soft light in your bedroom at night, not bright, very soft. And turn off electronic devices that emit bright light. And I would ask you, I've done this because as I was studying to how to restore natural sleep patterns, the book, right, the research I was looking at talked about the difference between blue light, which most electronics have more of a blue light, and an amber colored light. So amber is more like the setting sun, and blue is more like the brightness of a bright day, right, where the sky is blue. So turning off your electronic devices and do a check. Turn off all the lights and then look around you. There are lights on, everywhere. Every electronic device has one. But even things like your refrigerator, your ovens, microwaves, telephones, especially cell phones. I flip mine upside down because it has that stupid blinking light. Or if a message comes in, it'll light up, right? So I know that there's this sleep thing that you can do, but I haven't done that. So I just flip it upside down. Your clock. I don't have one like that anymore. Don't need it, right? So your clock is probably the worst because what happens when we can't sleep? We start to stare at the clock. All right, avoid playing games or watching stimulating movies or working on your tablet in bed because the idea is to calm the brain, not rev it up, right? So sleep, right, when we were cavemen was all about, gathering around the fire and slowly winding down after a good meal. You don't want to rev up your brain. And as I mentioned before, what you ruminate in before you fall asleep is what you will ruminate in all night. Do you want it to be, some gory, shoot 'em up, horrible, there's scary people out there movie? Or do you want it to be something a little softer, a little more optimistic, a little bit safer, right? Something that makes you happier. Again, what you watch, what you read, the news, right, is one of the worst things you can do, to watch it and then go straight to bed. News isn't happy, right? And we are focused on the negative. We're just meant to be that way. That's how we survive. So we have to consciously, right, consciously make ourselves be more positive. Don't watch those types of things and then go straight to bed. But also working, right? Working on your tablet right before you go to bed. If sleep is a priority, just like exercise, do your work long before you go to bed. Maybe you don't have to do it 3 hours before you go to bed, but at least the last hour you need to be winding down, not revving up. So avoid the blue lights and electronic devices, I mentioned that. And then napping. It may help or it may interfere. There's studies on both. So go back to, do you wake up refreshed? I nap. I still fall asleep and I sleep well. I don't nap all the time, but when my body is tired and I feel it, I'll take a 20 to 30 minute nap and I'm fine. It doesn't keep me awake. It can interfere with others. And an extremely long nap where you fall into that right deep sleep and that REM sleep can really interfere with your circadian rhythms. So if you don't wake up in the morning refreshed and the nap is what's interfering, then avoid the nap. If it doesn't bother you and you wake up refreshed and it absolutely helps, then take the nap. Meditation. Meditation will help calm you. It will help get you into that space. And when we meditate, we tend to meditate on things that are positive and optimistic. So prayer. I've talked before about the different types of prayer. So if you pray, oh God, please do this, do that, I'm so worried, protect, do this, right? That's kind of ruminating in the negative. But if you pray in a meditative state, gratitude and optimism, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for the people in my life. Thank you for the sunrise. I saw this beautiful black and white butterfly today. I followed it everywhere with my camera, my phone, trying to get a picture, right? That will be part of my meditative prayers tonight, right? My gratitude prayers. Love that butterfly. If only I could get a picture of it, right? So it's the type of prayers, right, that help set the stage. And there is a difference when you're praying through, right, all of this worry and, how scared you are and how awful things are and please God do this and that and the other. It's not, right, as restorative as praying with optimism and gratitude. Just praying, thank you. Whole different energy. Hypnosis, right? It's what I do. It's my favorite. So I listen to some of my own recordings, and especially if I am having a difficult time falling asleep, because if your body is resting and you're fully in that restive state, then it's easier for you to fall into the deep sleep, but also you at least get rest. Whereas if you're worried about not getting enough sleep, then the worry is what causes you to be so much more tired. Binaural beats that are designed for sleep. So binaural beats are, in each ear, you're getting a different megahertz or whatever it's called. And it brings your brain into a very calm and relaxed state, a very balanced state. Sound and light proof your bedroom. So use your bedroom for sleep and sex only. Make good restorative sleep a habit. So if you do other activities in your bedroom, such as TV, right, or work, then this prevents your mind from falling into that sleep pattern when you go to bed. So if you consistently use your bedroom just for sleep or sex, then all of the other things stay out, and your brain, right, can relax. It knows what you're doing, why you're going there. So I want to conclude with some myths, and then I'll finish with a guided relaxation for those of you who can stay. So myth number 1, skipping an hour or 2 of sleep won't hurt you. That's a myth. Myth number 2, your brain rests when you sleep. It does not. It's quieter, but it's still very active. It's restoring, regenerating, rejuvenating. You want that. Myth number 3, snoring is common and nothing to worry about. Troy, that's what you found out. It is a condition that can affect your health. So find out what's causing your snoring and find ways, right, to alleviate it. Myth number 4, older people don't need as much sleep. That is not true. They need as much sleep as everybody does, right? And especially for brain health. They need the best sleep patterns because as we age, we don't go into the deep sleep as easily or as long. Myth number 5, I can sleep less during the week and make up for it over the weekends. You cannot. Make sure you get the proper amount of sleep. Again, make that habit. Go to bed on time, get up on time, same time. And only on occasion fall out of your circadian rhythm, right? So if you can stay with me, I'd like to do a guided relaxation on the positive effects of sleep. So if you can, find a comfortable position, and when you're ready, close your eyes. And take a deep breath in, hold for just a moment, and when you exhale, exhale fully. And when you're ready, another deep breath in. This time lengthen your breath. Make it longer and deeper and slower. Hold for just a moment. And when you exhale, exhale longer and deeper and slower. And one last time, a nice long deep breath in. Hold for just a moment and exhale fully. And when you're ready, imagine a staircase with 10 steps leading down. With every number I count, repeat the number I say silently in your own mind and feel yourself going deeper and deeper into relaxation. Making your way there now, stepping down 10, going deeper and deeper within. 9, every step down takes you deeper within, relaxed more now than ever before. As you step down, 8. Stepping down, 7, deeper and deeper, relaxing with every step down. 6, stepping down, going deeper and deeper, deeper and deeper, stepping down. 5, every step down takes you deeper within. 4, feeling lighter and lighter as your body becomes more relaxed, your mind more alert. Every step down. 3, going deeper still. Almost there. 2, stepping down. 1, and one more step as you step out onto a well-worn path, a path that leads to your favorite relaxing place. This place may be somewhere familiar, someplace you've been before, someplace totally new. But it's your favorite place to relax, to unwind, to settle down. Make your way there now. Your favorite relaxing place. And using the power of your imagination, turn the lights down low. Whether this is inside or out, use your imagination to soften it, to turn the lights down low. Whether you're inside or out, just soften the lights, turn them down low, and get comfortable. And listen carefully as I tell you this. Sleep is restorative. Quality sleep regenerates and renews every cell in your body. Sleep is restorative. And when you are restored, you are happier in body, mind, and spirit. Happier because your sleep is restorative. You are happier. And when you're happier, you're healthier, just naturally so. The happier you are, the healthier you are. The happier you are, the healthier you are. It's naturally so. And the healthier you are, the smarter you are. The healthier you are, the smarter you are. Your brain is free to learn and expand and grow because you are healthier. And because you are smarter, because you are healthier, your brain functions better. It just does. You know this to be true deep in your heart. You know that the happier you are, the healthier you are, the smarter you are. Your brain just functions better. It's naturally so. And your brain and your body heal and regenerate at night when you sleep. And you have special sweepers. We talked about this. Special sweepers that clear your brain of toxins, plaques, and tangles. It's like your own special maintenance crew in your brain. Imagine them now, your own special maintenance crew. They can be whatever you want them to be. Use the power of your imagination and imagine them now doing their perfect work. Cleaning and clearing your brain of toxins, plaques, and tangles. Doing their perfect work. Cleaning and clearing your brain of toxins, plaques, and tangles. Now imagine that they repair and renew your brain, making you healthier and happier. They repair and renew your brain, making you healthier and happier. And your brain works better. And when your brain works better, you work better. You're able to do all of the things you want to do. You function better. You think better. You are able to exercise and play better. You drive better. Your conversations are deeper, richer, full of meaning. You learn new things easily. You eat better. You make better decisions for you and your loved ones. Now listen carefully as I repeat that. Your conversations are deeper, richer, full of meaning. You learn new things easily. You eat better. You make better decisions for you and your loved ones. You are better because your brain is better. And like any maintenance crew, you give your crew the material, tools, and supplies they need to keep your brain functioning optimally at its best. You give your crew the materials, tools, and supplies they need to keep your brain functioning optimally at its best. And so you sleep, you eat, you exercise, You hydrate. You learn and grow. You spend time with loved ones. You work at a job that fulfills you. You are optimistic and grateful. You're full of happiness. Again, you're full of optimism and gratitude. And these are the tools, the materials, and the supplies you give your maintenance crew to keep your brain functioning at its best. And you do this because you are committed to your own health and wellness. Now take a deep breath in and thank your maintenance crew for doing their perfect work, for keeping your brain clear of plaques and toxins and tangles, for helping your brain to function at its best, optimally, for helping you to be healthy in body, mind, and spirit. And you thank your crew, and you make your way back to the path that leads to the staircase with the 10 steps leading up. Make your way there now, stepping up 1, slowly, calmly, easily, and gently, returning to your full awareness once again. 2, every muscle, nerve, and fiber in your body feels good. You feel wonderfully good. 3, stepping up, coming back into your normal awareness once again. 4, feeling refreshed and renewed. 5, take a deep breath in. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes and move your head from side to side. 6, stepping up, bringing back with you everything you learned with this experience, which makes permanent and positive changes in your life. 7, another deep breath in. Really wiggle those fingers and toes, coming back into your body once again, coming back to the sound of my voice. 8, almost there. 9, ready to open your eyes on the next number I count. And 10, eyes open. Deep breath in, stretch and smile. Well, I want to thank you for joining me. I love doing this. And again, if you're watching this, you know how much you matter to me. But remember, you matter to others. And make sure you matter to you, because it's you who prioritizes all of these very simple things, right? Simple to add to your life that will protect your brain. And knowing what our family is going through, again, this subject is deep, right? It matters. It matters to me because you matter to me. So with that, join me next week as we talk about renewing and optimizing, right? This will be more about stress reduction and how to really live that stress-free life, right? I can tell you, my life has changed so significantly. Thank you, Mona. So significantly, because I no longer have that type of stress or worry. I'm healthier, happier, more optimistic, more grateful. So with that, right, love yourself well, and I hope to see you next week. Bye-bye.